Well, hello everyone. This is Andy, and I'm coming to you this week from Poland, where I am on a hotel Wi-Fi network that is exceptionally good. So it should be a better episode than our normal ones.
Wow, that's impressive. You travel and you improve your connection. Well, everybody, I am Scott, and I'm still in my home studio here in Toronto. Thanks for tuning in.
And this is the Tea and Timbits podcast, global perspectives on business development to help you prosper. And we are continuing our theme for September, which, Scott, you'll have to remind me of what it is.
Business year.
The business new year, that's right. And this week we're focusing on international expansion, which both of us are very excited about, I believe. But before we get into the topic, Scott, do you have a story for us this week?
Yeah, I thought I would. I'm working on a couple of presentations for a couple of events that I'm presenting at, and talking about how your content strategy can improve B2B sales, and my hypothesis at the beginning of the presentation is that really there's never been a better time to do all the things that you need to do in order to do this right. And the reason there's never been a better time is because we now have AI as a tool at our disposal that can boost and accelerate productivity. But the friction is that people are still wrestling with understanding AI. They see it as a great productivity tool at the end of their arm on their phone for themselves, but they're not sure how to integrate it into their actual business. What do you mean? My business can use ChatGPT. I can use ChatGPT, but how does the business use ChatGPT sort of autonomously? And well, the short answer is there's other kinds of platforms and tools that provide sort of an interface and a middle layer for doing that. And then when you explain that in depth and detail, you still kind of get these blank stares on your face, kind of going, like, what? Like, oh my God, like I you're talking about something I don't understand. This is like I got to learn something new. Okay, but like this is going so fast, I can't even keep up. And if I even do, by the time I've figured it out, it will have advanced exponentially again. So what's the point in even trying? My business is okay. I don't know. It's somebody else's problem. So
I'm chuckling because you're describing me at the moment.
So the answer is to do my presentation here in 2 minutes is to just work the problem. It's the same answer as any other situation, but to break it down into digestible, discrete milestones. Give yourself a goal, put your eye on the prize, know where you want to get to, and just make it a set of little steps. You don't need to have the business embrace ChatGPT and put one of these middleware platforms in place and boldly launch into something that is you're just diving into the deep end and you don't know how to swim. Start by making sure you have a life jacket on. Like, do it in incremental spaces, step into the shallow end, that kind of a thing, and make it ladder up to the point at which you are embracing this properly, which is advice for embracing any change, any new business venture. But for some reason, people kind of get overwhelmed by the prospect of taking on this challenge when it comes to AI, because it does feel like it's moving so frickin' quickly. So the other little nugget is, I'm just giving it all away here, is you do not have to try and find success by mastering AI. You will find success by just doing it better than your competition.
Oh, excellent. I like that.
All in the same boat. So
I looked into
on the other guy.
Since you started telling me about the whole AI thing, and I know it was quite a while ago that you introduced this to me, and I know you're way advanced on this than I am. I have looked into the ChatGPT stuff, and they have a business integration option that you can sign up for, and that then allows it to learn about your particular business and then help you to develop the things that you're doing moving forward. And I know that that's at a very high level, but obviously what you're discussing here is the stuff that's going to take it even beyond that as well. And that, just blows my mind, because I'm still struggling with the bit that will help me personally. So.
Right. And most people are.
Yeah. I mean, I use it so rarely. It's like people go, "Oh, well, why didn't you just use ChatGPT?" Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe I could have done. Yeah, it's just. So I'm still stuck in my traditional bubble, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, because I think if you become reliant on AI, then can it kill creativity? Can it kill your own thought processes? Does it take that away? I don't think so, because of what you've told me. I think it helps, and I think it adds value, and I have become comfortable with that perspective. I just haven't figured out how yet, and I think a lot of our listeners are either fully in your camp or fully in my camp, and there's not really that sort of middle ground, is there?
Yeah, I mean, people are starting to wrestle with it, and I think the more you use it individually, the more you realize it's a thought partner, it's a creative counterpart.
It
is not taking away anything. The problem comes when you just generate something in AI and then hand it in, which most of us do the first time we use it, because we're so freaking blown away. This is amazing, holy crap, I'm so impressed. And then you hand it to somebody who's been using the technology for much longer, and they go, wait, hey, I can tell just by looking or reading this is AI generated. Like, come on.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't even use it very much, but I can see the telltale signs of when it's clearly AI generated that people are submitting or sending over or publishing, and you see a lot of it on even business platforms like LinkedIn, and I think it's more reputational damaging to use it in that way, and to just put it straight out there rather than using it as you say, as a thought partner to help you create your own material or enhance your own material, and use it as a brainstorming partner.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I use it to publish this podcast. It generates the thumbnail images for each episode, and then it takes the transcripts and it creates a little summary. And you can go back in our LinkedIn history and you can see quite obviously, oh, this is an AI generated thing. More recently, I've gone away from the templated AI generated LinkedIn post to still something that is assisted by AI, but it's more narrative and less bullet points and template structure. So
yeah, I must say, on the images it generates, it makes you look young and fresh, and me old and decrepit.
It actually has it backwards. It thinks that I'm you and you're me, by the way.
I noticed that. It's really weird, isn't it?
I can't get it to change that. I've told it a million times, and it's like, okay, Scott is bald and Andy has hair.
Yeah, it's funny.
Anyway.
It's funny. Hey, but anyway, let's get into today's topic, which is international expansion, which we both are very passionate about, and something that we have both been very much involved with, especially with the expansion from Canada to UK. I mean, we've been very active in that, both of us, and but of course, it's something that I am involved with on a regular basis with the clients and customers that I work with. So when I was preparing for this episode, which sometimes I do, but if it's a topic that I'm very excited about, I get a little bit carried away. And on the journey here to the hotel in town, I was writing a lot of stuff on the train, and I went, I can't discuss all of this in the episode. It's going to be way too much, way too heavy. It's going to put everyone off doing international expansion,
Right.
and I don't want that. You know, my goal for this episode is to encourage people to do international expansion, but to do it properly and to at least go through that process of what's necessary to be considered before launching into an international expansion process. And making sure that they're prepared to plan for that correctly, and then reach out to experts like us, or the other business partners out there who have this many years of experience in international expansion, to help them to do that. But I felt that dial it back, and try and make it more accessible. What's your thoughts on this episode? Do you think I'm now going in the right approach, or do you think I should have gone down the much
No, it
more
definitely
detailed
sounds
direction?
like we need to like slot this into just like its own month, so that we can find time to go through your entire structure, one episode at a time. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the challenge that I've seen, or the pitfall that I've seen, is people think international expansion means just sort of renting an office and hiring a person and we're in the market, right? So I've talked to people who have actually done that, and they're scrambling to recover their investment. So boil it down. What's the short version of?
Well, that's it. I mean, I created I wrote down just before we started recording. I wrote down a bit of a headline thing, and this is kind of the nuts and bolts of where we need to be, because if you can't explain why this country, why now,
Right.
and how it will pay back in less than 2 minutes,
right,
you're not ready.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I mean, that is like sort of anchors the whole entire idea, right? It's not just oh, that sounds like a nice place I'd like to visit. It's why this country and why
Correct.
now, right? How do you figure that out?
You're going to drag me into like a 16-hour episode, but we're not going to do that. I'm not going to fall for
got
that.
about another 5 minutes.
No, but it essentially the key is, I mean, you've got to look at which countries make the most sense, and and you've got to go through a sort of checklist, and I've got kind of this 10 points that you need to think about, and it's kind of customer concentration, do enough of your ideal buyers exist there, and I think willingness to pay as well is something that's developed over time as well, because sometimes in the past, when we've developed into new markets, we've seen everything else, all the boxes look great, everything's looking good, everything says we should expand into this market, but that particular market doesn't understand what it is that you're selling,
right?
Therefore don't value it,
right?
And therefore aren't willing to pay for it.
So let me connect that back to AI and digital and whatnot. I can see there are a bajillion markets and international expansion opportunities where clearly, wow, the digital experiences, the way businesses market themselves online in this region is inferior to the best practices that we coach on, that I know work well.
Yeah.
And so it would seem at the surface that is a prime market to enter. But if you do that and then the businesses there don't appreciate that value, you will get nowhere.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Like if they're like, what? Digital marketing? Come back to me later, like when you've got some newspapers to sell me. Like, if you just, or if the appreciation of value is missing, if the capacity to pay doesn't exist, it's even though you could accelerate productivity or results, you're not going to be able to realize them.
That's right. And I think a lot of people get hung up on some of the more sort of logistical parts of it, so it's like, what are the rules and the red tape in that particular country? I mean, they're always going to be slightly different to your own country, and those are important to consider. What licenses do you need?
Yep.
What are the rules? What are the sort of standards that you need to uphold? What is it possible to get local talent, and can you get quality partners? What are the shipping times and customs costs for the
Yep.
items that you're selling? How stable is the currency? What are the taxes? What are the duties? What sort of competition do you have? But those are things that are going to exist in any market. It doesn't matter which market you're looking at. Those are things that you always need to think about. So I don't think those are the things to get hung up on. I think the key really is understanding what your entry route is into that market that makes most sense. Is it going through a distributor or an agent?
Right.
Are you looking at a local partner or kind of a joint venture setup?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to have your own office and build your own team, or are you going to kind of have a license or franchise of your business in that local market?
Right.
What I see that fails most often is that people choose a blended model. They
Mm.
choose a hybrid of
You
those
kind of
things,
distribute your
and that
do
is a
everything.
problem because that blurs accountability, and that means that neither the home business or the new business are taking on full things. So they do the best things that work for them. They do the things that they find most fun and enjoyable, but they
Yeah.
don't necessarily all get involved. And whereas if you have a clear route to market, then you have a clear level of accountability. And
Right.
there are pros and cons for each of those, of course. I mean, if you go with the distributor route, you've got a fast access, but you've got
Well,
kind of low control
yeah.
of that distributor, but there is a low cost associated with it as well. So I
Just
mean,
just
then
because
you're
you
looking at
entered some
kind of,
distributor catalog doesn't mean you
yeah,
entered the market, right?
exactly. You're just another name on a list of suppliers that they have,
Right.
and that's where local partner can come in, because you've got then a sort of shared risk, which brings, of course, a credibility,
Right.
but you have a much slower time to set up in order to make things work well,
Right.
and all of your decisions become shared,
Right.
which can be positive or negative depending on your business, and that then leads into the taking your own office there and hiring a whole team. You've got full control of that from your home office, but it's a much higher cost, much
Right.
higher risk, and it's much slower way to get into the market.
Yeah.
And then the final option there is the license or the franchise. That's kind of light on capital, so your cost of entry is quite good, and you can kind of get some income straight away. But it demands a very, very tight kind of brand and rights control, and you need to be
Yeah.
really on top of your business in order to make sure that works.
I was going to say that you're kind of switching your business model at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Governance of what your license needs to embody versus the delivery
Mm.
of the product or the service. I mean, all like fabulous considerations. It would seem to me to be highly advantageous if you can try and identify an anchor customer
Yeah.
in that market, which then gives you a springboard. So before you kind of go, you know, all in on something or you do all this research, what about starting the exploration by looking for your first customer and then kind of going, okay, well, we've got somebody to sell to, and this will make it, reasonable. Now that's business model the whole thing on the revenue that opportunity provides.
That's right, and that's where the country assessment comes in. Because if you can find, another country that has kind of similar values, similar customer types, and because of course all of our customers and anyone who's looking, all of our listeners, sorry, and anyone who's looking to expand into those new markets, they have defined what their ideal customer looks like. They know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking into those other markets and considering what they are, what they look like, and do they exist in this particular market, has to be a first place of starting.
Yeah.
And it really is important when you're doing the international expansion. I think a mistake that a lot of, say, North American companies make is that they kind of treat it as a marketing exercise, and they go, oh, let's go to Europe. And it's so broad and so generic. And you know, just like the States in the US, there's a completely different culture in each of the countries, a completely different way of doing business, a completely different way of entering those markets. And, you know, it may be desirable to enter Germany or to enter the UK or to enter Sweden, but you've got to accept that each of those countries has their own business culture. They have their own way of doing business, and they may not represent your ideal customer portfolio, and they may not be the right thing. So start with one country when you've reviewed all of those things, and then get your first customers in, get them happy. Make sure that you're making decent margins on those customers, and then build from there. Really, I mean,
I like it.
I think it's just important that you have a partner or a team that can deliver when you're not in the room. You know, that you're not there and looking over their shoulders. They understand your business model. They understand the goal. They understand what they're selling. They understand the product. They understand the market, and they're able to tailor it. They're able to deliver it, and they're able to make it successful locally.
Yeah. I like it. And it sounds like we could be probably turning this into several episodes, so let's keep that in mind.
I'm almost tempted to do an entirely different spin-off podcast where we drill deep into this, because I'm pretty sure that we could do 52 episodes on this without any problem. But anyway, if you are listening and you're thinking of expanding into other countries or other regions, and you want to find out more about how to do that, get in touch with us. Go to tandtimbits.com and follow us. Find out different ways to get in touch. Stay in touch with us on LinkedIn or send us an email, and we will be happy to have that discussion with you. Thank you very much, Scott. I have nothing more to add at this stage.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.